All right, let's talk how to build your offense in Madden 24. It's very soon, of course, okay? There's a lot of steps. I've actually made like quite a few videos, I feel like, talking around this subject. I've made guides on Civil GG directly addressing the subject. And let's just talk about it, right? First and foremost, I think you need to determine whether or not you really want to run or pass the ball. In most Maddens, it's typically more bang for your buck passing. But it does appear in Madden 24, based off the beta, based off what EA has said, that it's a little bit more run heavy. But we're going to assume, for the sake of this, we're going to assume that you want to be a little bit more pass heavy, okay? Just talking about it. So, first and foremost, the first thing I almost always do is find a formation that I believe can block whatever the meta is going to be. The reason for that, the reason that's actually the first thing, if a formation can't block, it can't be ran as your main formation, is because if a formation can't block, if you cannot block the blitz, you can't run. It doesn't matter how good your routes are, right? It doesn't. Who cares, right? And there is the argument that you can pass over the blitz, which, yes, but take it from me, I have played with the best Madden players, the best passers that have ever touched the game of Madden, and even they cannot consistently pass over the best blitzes in the world every single game after game after game. You might be able to do it for one game, might be able to do it for 2 games, 3 games, but when you're in any kind of tournament setting or any kind of grind setting, let's say you play 7 weekend league games in a row, right? 7 head-to-head games in a row. By game 6 or 7, you're just gonna be a little bit slower, maybe, or maybe game 3 you're on a phone call or something, right? So you gotta be able to block everything. Typically, that's going to involve having a tight end and a running back that can both block. Some years, it can be a little bit different. Gun tight, you didn't necessarily need that last year, but typically it's a good, decent rule of thumb. And ideally, if you can have them on opposite sides, that's even better, but not always. Another option would be like to motion block a wide receiver. Trips tight end's a great example. You have the halfback to your right, tight end to your right. You can motion block the wide receiver from the left, and then you can block halfback, motion block, and you have that protection on both sides, right? That's just a decent rule of thumb. Not 100%, but you definitely need at least a tight end or a halfback blocking, or with the ability to block, and preferably both of them, all right? Next thing you're going to want to have is going to be what I've always called your power play. What this play is essentially the play that you can close your eyes, call against almost any defense, and you will be able to get a route open. All right, great examples of this would be PA boot over from Madden 22, would be Madden 21 gun bunch double post, would be Madden 23 flood from gun tight slots halfback weak. Let's see, what would be another one in Madden 23? Another one in Madden 23, whenever you'd run post slant, right? Whenever you'd have a slant and a post meshing, that'd be almost every coverage. PA slot corner where you throw in deep corner. These plays that are going to beat the majority of defense you see and can be your literal bread and butter, to where if you're, again, in the middle of a 5-hour Madden session and you hit game 7, right, and you're in the third quarter, you on the phone call, whatever, you can call it and you just can develop the muscle memory. You know that you'll be able to get a route open. It's also the same play that when it's 4th and 6, you can call, and you don't care what the defense is doing, you are going to be able to use that play, right? And a lot of times these plays will have like a really good deep corner route. A lot of times these plays might have a really good crosser. It could be a few different things, but some of the examples I gave just now are kind of some of those, some of those plays that you need that power play that can be highly successful. The way you can test out power play, and this is something I do a ton when I'm labbing and learning schemes, is when I think I have one, right, and I've gotten really good. When you play the game forever, and as much as I do, I know life this game. I literally do not see sunlight. This becomes easier to identify early on before you have to go through this process. But going to 2, 3, 4, 5 head-to-head games and only call that play. Don't worry about winning or losing. We don't care about that. It's like there's scrimmages, the reps, right? Who cares if we lose? Only call that play. If you see yourself being able to get a receiver open consistently in this play, might be a good play. If you see consistently, this play is just almost never open, cut the play. Not a good play. Simple as that, okay? That power play's got to be a dog for you. Now, if you can find 2 power plays, that's even better. But ideally, you need 1 power play that's really, really good. And that's really what I love. I love having that 1 power play that's really, really, really good. Again, your bread and butter, what you can go to. Then what I really love being able to find as well is one way to be able to bomb a few different coverages deep. I just love the ability to move down the field in a hurry and to be able to get one-play touchdowns. Now, this can differ based off the year of Madden. This past year, Madden 23, it was kind of hard to bomb a lot of things, so that wasn't a part of my offense. But I do think typically it's a decent rule of thumb, Madden to Madden, to be able to bomb coverages, at least a little bit. I won't say that makes or breaks you, but it's definitely something you're looking to be able to do some way, somehow. And sometimes you got to be pretty creative doing that as well. But it's a pretty good resource to have, and it's bailed me out of a lot of situations, being able to have a bomb play inside of my offense, right? Then what I also look for in a lot of these formations is going to be what I call unique routes, right? So without Hollow Master, the only things you can really hot route are streaks, curls, drags, zigs, outs, slants, and a couple other things, whatever, but nothing too crazy. So what we're missing in that is we're missing short posts. We're missing corner routes. We're missing wide receiver wheels. We are missing deep posts. We're missing, both in terms of corner routes, we're missing short corners and deep corners, which are two different things. We're missing crossers. And remember, we don't get Hot Run Master in the year until deep into the year. And regs, who knows if there's a Hot Run Master right now because Tom Brady just retired. So there's probably going to be one or two, but again, that's only one or two quarterbacks out of 32. So you want to find a formation that gives you a couple of these unique routes, right? That's why bunch is always so popular in the beginning of the year, almost year after year after year. And same with like gun tight last year because it had corner routes, it had a post, it had a deep post, it had some good unique routes. If a formation offers you no unique routes, I mean, it's just hard to justify running it. Like, why would you run that? Why not just run a formation that gives you some benefits, right? It doesn't make any sense to. Trips tight end offers a ton of unique routes. Seriously, look at the popular meta formations the past 2 years. Trips tight end, gun bunch, gun tight offset tight end, gun tight slots halfback weak. All of these formations have very specific unique routes that give them an edge on other formations, right? And talking about getting an edge on other formations, that's kind of what your offense needs to have. Is there has to be some reason you're running it. Now, sometimes this can be just a pure joy thing, right? For me, every effing year, I go and I run pistol full house. It sucks. It is not good. But damn, do I have fun. It reminds me of high school football. It reminds me of watching Georgia Tech under Coach Paul Johnson. And god damn it, is it fun. It sucks. But also, I run it knowing this sucks. But it's just fun. But you have to have some edge, right? So a lot of people I'll see, they'll run something where it's just like, it's running Trey Y flex instead of trips tight end. Why would you ever run Trey Y flex? Typically, there's no reason ever to run Trey Y flex as your main offense instead of trips tight end. It doesn't offer you anything. And there's no reason. They do a lot of the same things, but it doesn't give you any benefits and only limits you a little bit more. So there's no reason to just run trips tight end, right? And there's a bunch of examples of this. It's a big reason why until recently most people didn't run gun bunch halfback strong over gun bunch. Gun bunch just offered you way more. Now, there is an argument for bunch halfback strong in that maybe there's a unique route or two, but also that it cancels out match because you have 4 receiving options on the same side. So then, that's a little bit of an argument to say, oh, okay. I'll give you a great example. A slot in Madden 20 is what I ran. The reason I ran it is because it weak boxed the most popular defense, 146. Now, in terms of passing concepts, it would make way more sense for me to have ran trips tight end. Literally, A slot was a poor man's trips tight end in the passing game. It didn't have quite the same routes, wasn't quite as good. I was a little bit more limited. But the advantage it gave me was the very best defense in the game was unrunnable against me. And I said, I want that advantage. I'm willing to limit myself here and take that advantage. Now, the trips tight end people weren't wrong to say, well, I want all the advantage of the trips tight end, and I'll deal with point 146. Just a give and take, right? So there is a lot of give and take in a lot of these. So you can talk about some of the advantages, some of that stuff. There's also just the idea of, you have your power play, having a few constraint plays on top of that as well. I love a really good, well horizontally spaced short option, short yardage play, which not necessarily for the red zone, but like let's even say you have like a 2nd and 1, and for some reason you just want the first down, right? And you're able to space the field pretty well with, let's say, a flat, a curl, a little like snag. Let's say on the opposite side you have a flat and you have a ghost route. And I just love being able to do that. I think that's a really important thing to have in your offense, to be able to attack zone blitzes and just zone in general. I think really if you get 2 different man-beating plays, 2 that work that complement each other, that aren't the exact same thing, right? That complement each other. You can beat the majority man coverages you play. And really, like, that's like some of the main things, right? I'm really big on a shotgun over under center when it comes to passing. And if we're in a pass heavy Madden, then it makes sense to give your advantages in the passing game. Now, I can see in a run heavy Madden or in just a Madden where the run game is really good, under center obviously makes a little bit more sense. Although typically, even in Madden, like a really basic rule of thumb for the most part is that shotgun runs are still just a lot better than a lot of under center runs. It's just the fact of the matter, and it's just been like that for years. You will, like, don't get me wrong, you can run the ball from under center a little bit, but a lot of shotgun runs are just better than under center runs for whatever reason. 0-1 trap and inside zone are insane runs almost every single year. Same with halfback quick base, whereas stretch can be hit or miss, dives or whatever, and after that under center can get kind of rough sometimes. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, so you got the power play, 2-3 constraint plays. And you have 4 plays right there. Ideally, you have 1 run play. Well, at least one decent run play that you can call. And then right there, you have a little mini scheme of 5 plays. Now you'll build on that, and you'll advance it, and you'll find little changes here and there, little tweaks against whatever, right? But as a basis, as a starting point, you have 5 plays right there. And in Madden games, they're not that long, right? Your opponent isn't. I hear all this talk about, oh, my opponent's picking up on my keys already. I'm going to tell you this. This is a fact of the matter. If the offense you're running can get keyed in on and stopped within 1 drive of you playing on offense, and your plays aren't good enough to make them struggle to stop it, the offense sucks. It is what it is in Madden. Like, that's how it is in Madden. Like, I really believe that the overwhelming majority of my offenses I've ran throughout the years, even if my opponent knew what I was running, which a lot of times they did, they could not stop it as long as it came down on me doing the correct thing. It wasn't, oh, now they're just bagging it, right? And if they have the bag for 1 play, that should mean they do not have the bag for another play inside of your offense, right? If 1 bag bags everything, you're going to really struggle. And sometimes that's just a learning experience. Sometimes that does happen, but really that is a fact and matter. I mean, hell, Madden 22 with boot over, Madden 23. I mean, look at a lot of the offense I ran at the end of this past year, right? If you look at the jump off tournament where me and K-Mac played each other, and I ended up winning that, right? K-Mac was not surprised by a single play I called. Do we think he was surprised by me calling the plays I did out of trips tight end and gun bunch tight end? Was he like, oh my God, I've just never seen this before? No. He knew I was going to call one of like 4 or 5 plays, and it was on him to put the defense out. But even then, it was on me to make the plays were so good that it was on me just to execute. And execution is so important in this game. So many people focus on all of these other weird little things, and it's like, no, you have your plays. If the plays are good, execute. That's what matters. You execute the effing plays. Don't worry about, the zig and the hit. No. Master your plays. If you have a playbook of 20-plus plays, you're way too deep into it. Like, you're way too deep, because I promise you're not running any of those plays at a high level, at even a decent level. I'm willing to bet so much money on it. I've seen what it looks like at the very highest levels. I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about guys who have won Madden belts I've gotten the luxury to play with. They master the plays. They master a select amount of plays. Again, if you look at Dez in Madden Bowl and even the tournament he won 2 months prior, how many different plays did he really call? Probably 10, maybe, if you count some of the audibles to different runs. Probably about 10 or so, give or take. Do you think anybody in the tournament said, Dez, I just haven't seen this before. How do I stop it, man? No! Dez just executed up in a high-ass level. That's what it is, right? Now, is a good little gotcha here and there good? Yeah, hell yeah. I love a good gotcha scheme. I'm actually one of the few comp MCS players who will break out a gotcha in a tournament, and it's hilarious. I love it. It's so much fun. But your scheme should be able to withstand scouting being done on you. It should be able to withstand them knowing, like, them having an idea, them seeing you before. Again, I always hate it. Well, man, we've played, and you know all my plays. So what? Again, like, who cares? Right? Like, execute. And that doesn't mean, like, every once in a while you don't need to throw in some change-ups and stuff like that. I'm not saying you can only run 4 plays forever. That's not what I'm saying. But you get the idea of what I'm getting at of you can tweak things, but initially you just master what you're doing, right? Then you could build upon it, right? If you're going to install an offense to a high school football team, you're going to give them 20 plays off the bat. No, you're going to say, hey, these are our 4 plays, our 4 concepts, whatever it is, and we're going to hammer these things home, and you're going to learn it, all right? And we're going to execute it. If we can execute these 4, we might go to 5 maybe. Maybe we go to 6. Maybe 7, we throw in a little trick play. You get what I'm saying, right? So kind of that idea. So hopefully this helped you guys out a little bit and offer a little bit of insight to how I've always thought about offenses. Almost just coughed right there, jeez. And if you guys want, just allow the legwork done for you, and you just want to be able to master the plays like I'm saying, which I think is the most important part, and also one of the harder parts too, subscribe to Civil.gg. It's simple. I do a lot of the legwork. I do all the legwork for that already. I've set the meadows for years on years on years. Been doing competitive Madden forever now. And we have a sale going on, code pre-sale at checkout for a yearly membership. It's hundreds of dollars worth of content for just 85 smackaroonies. That's dollars, by the way. Please do not hit me if you see me. $85 for an entire year. You get everything we did in Madden 24. You get access to some backlogs, Madden 23 as well, if you're interested in that. But just $85. But that is going to end on the 18th. So code pre-sale at checkout. That's going to be linked in the top of our description, boys.